is Allison, and welcome to the Unknown Truth. Some have claimed to see dark objects and shadowy figures throughout many haunted locations. This could possibly be what is known as shadow people. So we're here to find out if there's any truth to that.
I think that a lot of people believe that shadow people are demonic. They're evil ghosts, that they are interdimensional travelers. There's the residual energy theory, and one that I'm kind of, I guess you want to call it a pet theory right now, is that they are actual spirits, but they are spirits that have, are in the process of learning how to manifest, and that are actually bringing more substance to themselves.
We were called up to Ferndale, Washington, and we had a case in which the client was complaining about noises and shadows and hearing things. So we went in for an investigation, and I walked into the house and I immediately felt very heavy, like there was a heavy emotional burden attached to me. And I was walking around the house, and I got to one spot in the house in which it was between the hallway and a bedroom, and I literally collapsed on the ground, overwhelmed with anxiety and sadness and fear. And I am not the emotional type. I really don't express my emotions, but in this case I felt myself crying and weeping. I knew that I was experiencing the emotions of whatever spirit was in the home. What I was seeing was actually quite a tall, dark, shadowy form. It was human form, but it wasn't really distinct. Like you could see the outline of the head and the shoulders, and it just kind of tapered off. It was dark and, well, shadowy, cloudy-like. So I sketched it really quickly. This is what I'm seeing. I drew it. I got a distinct feeling that this person, the spirit that I was dealing with, was a male. I felt anger, depression, frustration with this male. I felt he was a very violent person, and I got a very strong feeling that there was also a female involved, probably a wife or a girlfriend. The male energy I felt had killed her, probably violently hurt her in some way, and it was probably a murder-suicide, and that was what was trapping him in the building. Usually when I see spirits, what I see is people. I mean, I'll see them, you know, the hair color, their eye color, what they're wearing. But in this case, I wasn't seeing that. It was the shadow that I was seeing. And so, of course, I drew that picture so that I could say, this is what I'm seeing. The client did later say that they had seen shadows like that in the spot that I had drawn it in. When we were doing the investigation in the evening after I had come up with these things and drawn the picture, the client had requested me to do a clearing. So I warned her of what the possibilities of what could happen if I did that. But nonetheless, she insisted, so I did. And as I was going around to the different room and kind of following the path through the kitchen into the back room and through the living room, I sensed that the spirit was kind of like running away from me, so to speak. And so as I would go into the back room, one of our other tech people was taking pictures and would see orbs coming through the wall as I was in the back room, as if it was running from me. At one point, one of our tech people had taken a photograph, and that photograph matched the shadow person that I had drawn. At in a series of 3 shots, you can actually see this figure form in each of the shots, and the last shot is the shadow person that I had drawn. It was quite interesting, nothing I've ever seen before like that. We attempted to continue with the clearing. According to what the client had said later, the clearing, the first 2 days after the clearing, there was a lot of activity, and then it died out. She did subsequently move out of the house.
My sister and I both, we shared a room for like 14 years, and I don't think there was ever a night that went by that we did not see shadow people. Because my parents, we had a routine where Mom would come in every night, come down the hallway, come into our room, say goodnight to my sister, come say goodnight to me, then leave the room. My father would do the same thing. On some nights, though, he would sit either on the end of her bed or my bed, and he'd sing to us and play guitar for a while, and then he'd leave the room. Well, regardless of which one of those they did, once the lights were out and everything was quiet again, Sis and I, we would kind of like do this little countdown, and within just a few seconds, I'd see them coming up the hallway, the shadow people, and would walk over to Deanne's bed and kneel over her, do the same thing with me, and sometimes we'd see the larger image, but what would have been my father, sitting on the end of one of our beds. And it unnerved us, even though we knew what they were, you know, being raised in the household like we were, that we discussed these things all the time. But it was residual energy. I don't know if maybe we as corporeal beings kind of like shed a certain amount of energy or something, and it can be picked up on by and made into a residual thought form. Something more than just residual energy. Something that actually starts coalescing into something that looks like a human being.
This was my room when I was 16 years old. I've lived in this house my whole life. One night, I was sleeping and I heard the door creak open just a little bit. It roused me from my sleep, and I looked up and I saw this black figure come into my room. And it walked right from the door right over to the window, like it was looking out the window. And I thought it was my younger brother TJ. He's a pretty big guy. And by the time I put on my glasses and to look up, just as fast as he had appeared, whatever it was had disappeared. And I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was my brother. And I got up, I ran into my parents' room, and I mean, everybody was asleep. There was nobody awake. There was nobody.
I have, in my experience, I have yet to ever come across a dark energy form like a mist or anything that would be approaching a shadow person that had any more malice than any kind of spirit that is disembodied, that most people cannot see with the naked eye, as far as being evil or malicious. Just because you can see it, though, I think that unnerves a lot of people. They think it's evil because they feel afraid of it, you know, and their fear is what, you know, is driving them to say that, oh, it must be bad.
So the stories you've just heard could support the fact that these dark energies or shadow people may very well exist. But that is for you to decide. I'm Allison with the Unknown Truth.